Call the meeting to order. We are missing Russ and Marianne. The other three of us are here for a quorum. So let's go ahead and do our flags.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any changes or
No.
additions? Okay, this will probably be the shortest meeting ever.
We do have a closed session.
Okay. Was there any public input? Okay, no public input. Dan, you are up.
I am up, okay.
It's just me. I signed the sheet
Oh,
back
you
there,
did?
sorry.
Oh,
Okay, we didn't see that.
I'm
Okay.
already at that.
about to grab the sheet.
You are not up, Dan.
That's fine, not a problem.
No worries, it's not long, it's not the
I defer to Mr. Tennyson here.
Sorry, I just signed you back there. Again, Richard Kinnison here. Thank you all for letting me speak. I think the red lines and marks you guys did for the students' teledevices was a great addition. The escalation each time with going to the next level between warning, taking the phone for a period, warning, taking it for, the day, and then involving the parents along the way, I think that was a great addition, because the more we get the parents in there, I think y'all move in the right direction when it comes to that part. Because without getting the parents involved, I don't think we'll have as big an impact with the students as we want to have regarding changing our schools for the better. Also, that October 2019 edition on there that you put on the agenda, very informative, great. I think everybody needs to read through that one, because it was informative for me to read some of the things in there that I didn't know about prior to. So thank you for including that in today's agenda.
All right, Dan, you're up now.
Okay. All right, good evening, directors, and
Thanks, Rick.
appreciate you convening this meeting tonight for the purpose primarily of approving a budget extension for the 22-23 fiscal year, which we are in right now. We're next to the last day in August. Our fiscal year closes on August 31st. So we went through the process with the ESD as far as getting this established. The primary reason for this is to increase expenditure authority. By statute, it says that the district is not to surpass its approved expenditure authority without doing a budget revision, or if it anticipates doing a budget revision. So I made you aware about 3 weeks ago that we did anticipate that we would exceed, if we continue on that course, exceed our expenditure authority before the end of the fiscal year, henceforth the reason for this. And as it turns out, it is important that we did do this, because we would have expended exceeded our expenditure authority had we not undertaken this process. As part of this, I do have to go through and true up the enrollment to basically what our enrollment actually was. So the first page is we were 50.87 FTE above budget for this year when you consider all forms, that's traditional and ALE. Then we go through, and the ESD has me actually update our revenues based on our 1197 report on our actual revenues received, not budgeted, but actual received for the entire year, anticipated for the entire year. So you'll see that on page 2, that change in current year, some went up, some went down, but that's basically truing up what was developed a year ago to what actual is, okay? But the main purpose of this is to go through, and, I should say, on this 1197, there are 2 revenues, in full disclosure, 2 revenues that are not on that report that were missed as far as adjustments are concerned. They are revenue 3600, which is our DNR. DNR was budgeted as on page 6. On page 6, it talks about our DNR was originally budgeted at $1.2 million. It still remains as $1.2 million on this document. It should have been changed to the actual. Actual has been about $100,000 this year, so that was an omission, so that is overstating the revenues. And then the other one is 8100, which is on page 10. 8100 is your capacity that you build for unexpected revenues. So those two not being adjusted downward have the effect of overstating your projected ending fund balance from your budget standpoint, not actual, but from budget. Okay? So with that being said, the purpose of this is to increase expenditure authority. The total expenditure authority requested in this revision is $808,000 even. There is a corresponding resolution which you will be signing this evening, but that will provide us more than enough capacity to finish out our normal course of business for the 22-23 fiscal year. Right now, basically, we have everything done, other than we have one more round of accounts payable, which will take place on the 15th of September, and then we will close the year, do the year in adjusting entries, and then work on the F-196, which is the year financial statements. Questions?
Byron, do you have any questions?
Nope.
All of mine have been answered already. Cindy, do you have any?
No.
Marianne?
I don't.
Okay.
We are good, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
We have second reading of policy and procedure 3245.
So there's a clean copy of both procedure and the policy there. If you look first at the policy, and I'm looking at the markup, very few changes were made to that. And I think the one thing that would stick out is that there's a provision being made for high school students that they can access their phones during lunch. They've never been able to get on our devices unless they find a workaround to access social media. This came about in just exploring what some of other school districts are doing and finding successful. And so that is the policy. We developed the procedure a few weeks ago. Really, there's a lot of different ways you can do it, and so we tried to do it in a way that made sense, that, Mr. Kinnison had mentioned is inclusive of families. And so we're gonna work through this. I think one of the things that came up in this that I think has been a concern to everybody is that I don't know exactly when it was, but we've seen YouTube videos, or you've seen maybe on the news or something, situations where kids have become less than nice when social media is going to get taken away from them. And we're not going to put anybody in a dangerous situation. There's going to be a lot of support. This is going to be all of us on board, and we're going to focus more on learning and less on screen time. And so people won't be asked to be put in a situation that could put them at risk. So anyway, that's the process for that. We're going to be present in the schools supporting this. It's going to take some time, I'm sure. It has continued from the time we first started talking about this and then went into COVID and came back out to get worse, not better. I think some of the wellness that I talked about in the previous meeting is partially related to the time spent on these devices and the particular platforms that kids are on. So it's all interrelated in a way. We can't control what people are doing in their own time, but we have to remember that the thing that brings us together is student growth and student learning. And we all need to be all on board for that, in my opinion. And so I recommend that you approve this, and we will report back regularly as to the progress we're making, and I appreciate the board's offer to also play a role in supporting this. I think it's important that we unify behind it to have success.
I did talk to Sarita a little bit when I was talking to her about the student reps, and I asked her about volunteers and if parents want to volunteer to help out with this. She said it'd be great if they're already used to coming in, to come in, at the start of school, but if they're not, kind of let them get through the kinks of it first before, like if somebody just wants to come volunteer for the first time, to kind of let them get through the kinks a little bit. But if they're familiar with the school and the staff and everything, that they would welcome anybody to come right away, so. Byron, did you have any questions on the policy?
Cool.
I have none either. Cindy?
No.
Marianne?
I don't know.
Okay, can I get, let's see, what are we doing? Second reading of policy and procedure 3245, students and telecommunication devices. Do I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we're good to go.
Thank you.
Dan Ballard, jump back up. I told you we're quick today.
Oh, I thought we had one other item, but yes, all right. So yes, we'd like to ask that a resolution was prepared, which you have essentially what budget extension is, and F200 is adding additional expenditure authority to the current year budget. So for 22-23, the request is for $808,000 of additional expenditure authority in fiscal year 22-23, which ends tomorrow, August 31st of 2023.
Dan, I've got a question.
Sure.
I think I know, I know most of the answer, but I'd like to at least just be reminded of it.
Yes.
The items that came up over the course of the year that led us to this in the first place.
Mhm. So you have, in that column that is marked change for current year, column 2, if you go down to expenditures, the section of in expenditures, starting on page 11, from page 11 on, you will see that in column 2 where it says change to current year, there typically will be positive values. That means we're adding expenditure authority. Those are the various ones. There's 180,000 under basic ed, 176 under special ed, 155 under pilot programs, 262 under district-wide support, and 35 under pupil transportation, which gets you to the 808,000 total of requested expenditure authority. And we had mentioned before, storm damage at Goldbar was a significant event. We had several grants that were approved that came in after the budget of about $150,000 in IT. We did purchase the Tanimage table, which was an unbudgeted expenditure, but that happened later on in the year. So those were some big ticket items. Obviously, there was many smaller ones, but those were some of the larger significant ones. As far as the insurance, just for revenues, and then I know we'll want to move on. On page 5 of 131, you will see under insurance recoveries, revenue 2,800, you'll see $200,000 of change, positive. That means new revenue that is coming in that's offsetting that
So
expenditure.
we're just getting paid back.
Just got it
For
this
the
week.
issue that
Just got it
happened
this
in
week, yeah.
December.
Well, I think you guys have already done a good job of explaining to us why we need to do this and what it's for, so I don't have any questions. I think we already went through that.
Okay.
Can I get a motion to approve the budget extension for the 22-23 budget?
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Cindy. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Thank you, directors.
I want in the record that someone needs to tell Russ that we have the quickest meeting ever. We do have, is it executive or closed session?
Closed session, follow-up on student review.
All right, closed session, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right.